Shalom, Israel. Elder Stephen here, and I got another class for you. Tonight, we're going to go over something that's very important and very controversial. Tonight, we're going to explain the mark of the beast and the meaning of the 666. Now, I know there are a lot of different belief systems and doctrines that have explained to you carnally what the 666 means and what all of this is about. Tonight, we're going to give you the understanding of what all of those things mean spiritually. We at Elders of Israel, we have been blessed with the understanding that the Most High has blessed us with, that we're able to get the understanding of a lot of really deep, controversial topics. If you've noticed, we've pulled down strongholds of a lot of different belief systems, and we showed you in the Bible what it meant. We've been able to show you what the years mean in the Bible. So now you know that a man never lived 900 years. We went and we showed you that Adam sinned, and we explained what his original sin was. We've showed you how to weigh fire. A lot of these concepts, people had no clue of what it meant until we came in and we explained it to you. Because the Most High gave us this understanding to give to the people, because the time period is short now. We know now the Most High intends to destroy the earth as we know it. So it's the time for us all to learn what it is that we must do in order to receive salvation. So tonight we're going to go through it. We're going to explain it to you, and by the end, you'll understand the meaning of the mark of the beast and the understanding of what 666 means. All right, so let's get started. We're going to go to Revelation 13, and we're going to read down. And as we read down, I'm going to explain to you how this is taught carnally. You're going to see it, and you're going to recognize how it's taught carnally to be what you're familiar with. Then after we go through this, we're going to go and we're going to start to break down what this thing really means spiritually. That's the part you need to know regarding your salvation. So let's get started. We're going to go to Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So a lot of people teach this to believe that this is talking about Esau. You got a lot of these Israelite camps where everything is the white man's fault. And so they've created a doctrine to tell you that this prophecy is the destruction of white people. Okay? Now you can believe that if you want. I mean, it's real compelling, but at the end of the day, white people getting destroyed has no bearing on your salvation. You have to know what this stuff means in order to get salvation. But that's how it's taught carnally. They explain it that it's talking about the European nations, and the European nations are going to be destroyed. They use the two horns to represent the political system here, Democrat versus Republican, and all these other things. Well, we're going to explain to you what that stuff means. All right. And it says, he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So this is taught to mean Rome. Rome fell and Rome came back as America and Europe. Okay? So that's how it was taught. Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So it's taught that this is talking about when America dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They have the power to drop bombs and destroy people. That's how that's taught. Okay? And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast. So it's saying that the beast gave him power to conquer all nations, all right, with his military. Okay? Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword and then lived. So this is explained to me. They trot out the Caesar Borgia. They say that is the beast. The beast is the picture of Caesar Borgia that portrays Jesus the Christ. Okay? So they say they use that image in order to control the people so that the people worship them. Right? That's the graven image that's taught that the people have to worship. Okay? So it's just saying that the religion of white people, they use the picture of Caesar Borgia as the symbol for the white race being Christ. Okay? Verse 15. And he has the power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So he's talking about, this is explained that they portray the beast in their movies. So the people begin to believe that the beast, or Caesar Borgia, who represents a race of people, his movies convince you that the white people are the Israelites and they are the people, the righteous people on the earth. Okay? And he uses his movies to trick you to believe that. All right? And he causes both small and great, this is taught to be nations, rich and poor, nations, free and bond, nations, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, some people think that this is a chip, and some people think that it's talking about they won't allow you to trade. That's the way it's taught. Some people believe it's talking about trade. You won't be able to trade or traffic in the world unless you have the approval of the people who run the world, which Caesar Borgia represents those people. Okay? And some people think that it's the COVID vaccine. Some people think it's a chip, a microchip that's going to be implanted in your hand or in your forehead. Okay? So I'm just explaining to you how it's taught, because there are a lot of people who believe different doctrines about what this is talking about. Okay? And that no man can buy or sell save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay? So they're saying you can't traffic, you can't buy and sell stuff unless it's talking. Some people believe it's talking about nations being able to trade in the world. They have to be approved by the powers that be, the white nations, the European nations. They control who's able to traffic in the world. That's how it's being taught. Okay? And they're saying that you have to follow their policy in order to be able to trade. Okay? Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man, and his number is 666. So that's 666. When I was young, Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States. His first name is Ronald, middle name is Wilson, and his last name was Reagan. That's 3 6s. So whenever I was coming up as a younger person, they said Ronald Wilson Reagan represented the beast. Okay? Reagan lived and he died, and none of the stuff that's in Revelation came to pass. Okay? Some people believe that there's an organization. They talk about the Trilateral Commission and all these other big think tanks and so forth, and they say that those are the 666 and so forth. And then in a lot of the Israelite camps, it's taught that the 666 represents destruction. It represents the death of the man of perdition, destruction. Okay? So that's a lot of the different ways that 666 and the mark of the beast is explained. All right? All of those methods that we use to explain that are carnal. Okay? Now, if you've been watching us for a little while, you know we believe in the spiritual commandments. We believe in the parables that Christ left us. He gave us a prescribed method in order to be able to tell what he's saying. And we cleave to the spiritual interpretation and not the carnal interpretation that a lot of these churches and religions are telling you. All right? So the Most High said that we had to worship him in spirit and in truth. So let's get some understanding of how the Most High said we had to discern what he's saying. First, we're going to go to Isaiah. Isaiah 28. We're going to start at verse 9. This tells you how you can find out wisdom, or what the Most High is saying. It reads, whom shall he teach knowledge? And whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. So he's telling you, in order to be able to understand what these parables mean, you have to be weaned from the milk. You can't be in a carnal doctrine. You have to understand what the spiritual doctrine is, which is meat, not milk. So you can't be in a carnal doctrine, which is milk. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You have to be able to get the context of what it's saying by presenting precepts or scriptures to support what you're saying. And you can get the precepts from the Old Testament portion of the Bible, the New Testament portion of the Bible, or you can find it in the Apocrypha. Those are primarily what we use in order to determine and discern what the Most High is saying. Regardless of where you go in the Bible, the context will primarily be consistent. So a word that means something in the New Testament will mean the same thing in the Apocrypha and the Old Testament. Okay? That's what he's telling you. Alright? It says, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people. So he's telling you there's going to be a different language or interpretation of the Bible that you're going to have to listen to. The common language that's used to explain the Bible is not going to be valid in these days. Okay? You have to remember the Most High told us he wrote the end of the book at the beginning. So he's telling you everything that he wrote in this book is actually happening now. This is an end times book. All right? We're going to go to Matthew chapter 18 and verse 20. This is another method that he talks about you must use in order to get to understanding. All right? And it reads, for where there are two or three, when it's talking about two or three, it's talking about two or three precepts or witnesses. Where there are two or three gathered together in my name, his name is the word of God. Okay, that's Revelation 19:13. There am I in the midst of them. He's saying in the middle of those two or three precepts, when you bring them together, that's the understanding. That's his doctrine is in the middle of two or three precepts. That's what he just told you. So if you want to find out what he's saying, you have to bring the two or three precepts. Okay? Also, we want to make sure you understand that Christ gave us a doctrine. His doctrine are the parables. Okay? So we give you the explanation of the parables. Revelation 13 is a parable. All right, so we're going to be able to explain it to you so you know what he's saying. We're going to go to Matthew 13 and verse 10. And it reads, and his disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it is not given. So then verse 12 it says, for whosoever hath, in the context of this is talking about the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. So whosoever hath the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, to him will be given, and he shall have more abundance, which means the kingdom. Then it says, but whosoever hath not the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Okay, so they're not going to get the kingdom because they don't understand the Bible. We're showing you the Most High in Christ is telling us you got to know what the mysteries are. That's the parables. Okay, we're going to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 6. It reads, howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world. The wisdom of this world is carnal, nor the princes of this world that come to naught. So the princes of this world are the people who have given an understanding of what Revelation 13 is talking about. He says their interpretation is going to come to naught. But we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom which God ordained before the world unto our glory. Okay, so it's explaining to you that the righteous are going to come with a hidden wisdom, okay, a mystery. We're going to be able to explain the parables, okay. It says, which none of the princes of this world knew. You're going to know that the people who are the false prophets, they're not going to know how to explain the mysteries. Okay? They're not going to be able to explain the mysteries. All right? For had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. They crucify him each day that they continue to put forth a carnal doctrine when he told us we had to convert to the spiritual. Okay? So now you got a better understanding of you have to be able to speak the hidden wisdom, the parables, the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven in order to interpret and decipher what the Bible is saying. So let's go back now to Revelation 13. And we're going to start giving you some understanding of what it's saying. All right. So, first it spoke about a beast. Okay. First thing you want to ask yourself, what is a beast? So, I'm going to explain to you what the beast is referring to in this scripture. Okay? We're going to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 18. And it reads, I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, that they might see that they themselves are beasts. So when it's talking about beasts, it's talking about men. When it's talking about beasts, it's talking about men. We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your God, saith the Lord God. It's telling you. When the Bible is talking about beasts or animals, it's talking about men. When it's talking about beasts or animals, it's talking about men. Okay? Now, you understand that beasts are men. Those beasts that's in the Bible, primarily the ones that's in Leviticus 11 and Deuteronomy 14, those beasts that you can eat is talking about prophets. Okay, so when the Bible's talking about animals, primarily it's talking about either people or prophets. Okay, so we're going to go to Leviticus 11 and give you an example of when the Most High is talking about prophets. He's talking about prophets that fit the characteristics of certain animals. Okay? So we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 11. We're going to read verse 2. It says, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts or men which ye shall eat. Eat means learn. I'll get that in a second. Among all the beasts that are on the earth. So he's talking about prophets. He's talking about prophets. Beasts are prophets. You eat the flesh of the beast. So let's get the understanding of what this flesh is. We're going to go to John chapter 6 and verse 53. Then Jesus said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh, that's the meat. The flesh is his understanding. Except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you. He's not talking about eating his physical flesh or drinking his physical blood. He's talking about wisdom. Flesh and blood are wisdom. Okay? Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up in the last day. He's saying whoever has his doctrine, because that's what his flesh and his blood are. That's his doctrine. Okay? Verse 55, For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. So he's telling you his doctrine is meat, and his doctrine is also drink. All right, so when it's talking about flesh and blood, it's talking about his doctrine. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. If you have his doctrine, he's saying you have my word. My word is in you, and you are in his house. That's what he's telling you. You're following his doctrine. You are him. You have his doctrine when you speak his doctrine. All right? So Christ is in you if you speak his doctrine. All right. So now we're going to go 1 Corinthians chapter 3, so that you know when it's talking about eating, it's talking about learning. All right? 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ. So he's talking about babes, they drink milk. Remember in Isaiah 28, we was talking about you have to be weaned from the milk. You can't be on the milk anymore, right? So now he's ready to give you an analogy about eating. He said, I fed you with milk and not with meat. So he's telling you he taught them milk and not meat. For hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet are ye able. So he's letting you know. He tried to teach them the meat, but they couldn't bear it. They couldn't understand it. All right. So when it's talking about eating, it's talking about teaching and learning. All right. He fed them, taught them, and they couldn't bear it. They couldn't understand what he was teaching them. Eat means learn. All right. So now you should know that a beast is talking about a carnal prophet who he has not killed the old man. That's what it's talking about. So that beast that we're talking about in Revelation 13 is talking about a carnal prophet. That's what it's talking about, right? And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake like a dragon. Now those horns that he's talking about, those horns are doctrines. Horns are members, all right? It says he has those horns. And if you look below, you see those precepts below, that's telling you what horns mean. And it says he spake. Spake is a doctrine, as a dragon. So a dragon is a serpent, that's wicked, okay? So he's telling you, the person who is this beast that he's talking about, he's going to be able to speak partially like a lamb, which is spiritual. So he's going to have some spiritual understanding, but he's going to speak like a dragon. So he's going to be carnal. He's going to be wicked. So he's going to deceive people with his doctrine. All right. He exercises all the power of the first beast and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound is healed. We're going to get to that wound very shortly. And he doeth great wonders. Okay, so what's the wonders? We're going to explain what wonders are. All right. Wonders and miracles are synonymous. Okay, we're going to go to Acts 15 and verse 12. Then all the multitude kept silence and gave audience to Barnabas and Paul, declaring what miracles and wonders God had wrought among the Gentiles by them. So when it's talking about miracles and wonders, it's in this verse, the context of the miracles and wonders is the teaching that Paul and Barnabas did. We're going to go to John chapter 3 and verse 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. So it's talking about this Pharisee by the name of Nicodemus. Then it says the same came to Jesus by night. Night, darkness, dark, evening, shadow, all that means ignorance. And said unto him, Rabbi, rabbi means teacher, we know that thou art a teacher. So the context is teaching, come from God. So he recognizes that Christ's doctrine is of God because they ain't never heard it before. Because Christ is teaching a spiritual doctrine. He's teaching the parables. For no man can do these miracles that thou doest except God be with him. The context is teaching. He's telling you the miracle is the way that Christ explains the doctrine. They understand it carnally. When Christ explains it spiritually, that's a miracle to them. They get new understanding. So miracles and wonders, that's talking about teaching. We're going to go to Joel chapter 2 and verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit, spirit is the word, upon all flesh, upon all understanding. We just read flesh is understanding. And your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I put out my spirit. So everybody is going, shall I pour out my spirit. So everybody's going to get the understanding of the word. They're going to receive the word. Spirit is word. That's John 6 and 63. It tells you the spirit is the word. Okay? And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth. So the heavens is the spiritual, the earth is the carnal understanding. Okay, so he's saying he's going to show wonders, right? Blood and fire and pillars of smoke. All of that, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke, that's talking about the word. All those things mean the word. Okay? The sun means wisdom, shall be turned to darkness. So the people of the time, this time, are not going to have any understanding. That's what he's saying. And the moon into blood. So he's telling you, moon means wisdom, understanding. He says the understanding is going to be defiled before the great and terrible day of the Lord. The terrible day means wisdom. Okay, the wisdom of the Lord come. So the people are going, the doctrine of Christ is going to come back. Okay, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord, the name of the Lord is the doctrine. His name is the word of God. Okay, whoever calls on the name of the Lord, who learns the doctrine, shall be delivered. So he's telling you, if you understand the doctrine, the spiritual doctrine, you're going to be delivered. You're going to receive salvation. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, Mount Zion is the spiritual nation. And in Jerusalem, Jerusalem is the doctrine, the spiritual doctrine, shall be deliverance. So people who understand the spiritual doctrine are going to be delivered, as the Lord has said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. So only a small amount of people are going to actually believe in the doctrine, and those are going to be the ones that are going to be redeemed. But he said in verse 30, I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth. So he's saying the wonders are the teachings of the doctrine. So the people are going to hear the doctrine, and they're going to be shocked and surprised. And they're going to be amazed with the way the doctrine comes out, and they're going to recognize that it's the truth. Okay? So when it's talking about wonders and miracles, it's talking about teaching. All right. So the great wonders of this prophet is he's going to be able to deceive the people with his ability to teach. So that's what the wonders of this beast in Revelation 13 is. He will bring fire from heaven in the sight of men. Means he will mix the carnal doctrine and the spiritual doctrine, and the people are going to be amazed. Okay? That is done today by means of what they call a precept package, which men gain sight of his doctrine. All right? He's going to use that precept package to teach the people the doctrine. He's going to use the precept package to teach the people his doctrine. All right? A lot of people, they talk about catechisms and such as that, right? For the people to learn their doctrine. Okay, so some people use precept packets, some people use catechism, whatever. But the beast is going to be able to deceive the people. The people are going to think that his carnal doctrine is amazing. Okay? So now, it says something about that beast had a wound that had been healed. All right? So let's get that so you know what I'm talking about. It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. So let's address this wound, so you know what a wound is. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 21. Verse 22. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, a woman is a doctrine, so that her fruit depart from her. Fruit means understanding, okay, wisdom. And yet no mischief follow. He shall surely be punished according to the woman's husband, according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. Okay? So it's talking about a man. If men strive mean they have a disagreement. Okay? A disagreement on the understanding of the scripture. And it says if that man hurts a woman or the other man's doctrine, right, and it affects his fruit. So it means he's converting that person to his wicked doctrine by force. All right. If any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life. Okay, so it's telling you, if that person, he goes out and he's trying to convert somebody to a doctrine by force. I give you an example. You're walking on the street downtown on a Saturday, and you come to this corner, and there's all these men out there on the corner. They're screaming and yelling, telling you that you're going to hell or you can't get the kingdom unless you follow the doctrine that they have. And they're screaming and they're making a lot of statements about how everybody's the devil and all of that. If those people cause you who has a righteous doctrine to convert to their wicked doctrine, then they are causing the woman that you have to not be fruitful. So that's what this is talking about. It says, if any mischief follow, thou shalt give life for life. So life for life. The word life is a doctrine. Eye for eye. The word eye translates spiritually to doctrine. Tooth for tooth. The word tooth spiritually translates to doctrine. It's talking about tooth comes out of the mouth of somebody speaking. Okay? And all of these are members that we're talking about here. Members are doctrines. Hand for hand. Your hand is your doctrine. Foot for foot. A foot is a doctrine. Burning for burning. Burning is fire. That's a doctrine. Wound for wound. Stripe for stripe. All those words mean doctrine. So a wound is a doctrine. A wound is a doctrine. He compared wound to all of those other words that mean doctrine. So he's telling you the word wound means doctrine. Let's get another example. We're going to go to Psalms chapter 68 and verse 21. But God shall wound the head of his enemies, and the hairy scalp of such an one that as goeth on still in his trespass. So he's going to wound with his doctrine the head of his enemies. Okay, the head is a member. So he's going to wound their doctrine with his doctrine. And the hairy scalp, hair is a doctrine. Genesis 25 and 25. Red and hairy garment. Garment is a doctrine. That's Job 29:14 and Isaiah 61 and 10. And the hairy scalp of such an one as goeth on still in his trespass. Trespass meaning he following a different doctrine. So when it's talking about that wound, he's going to wound that man's doctrine with his doctrine, meaning he's going to correct that doctrine with his doctrine. All right, the word wound means doctrine. All right, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 10. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed is the word, the doctrine, from the land of their captivity. Land means doctrine. That's the doctrine that you are following. Everybody's in a land now outside of Jerusalem because they're following the wrong doctrine. And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest. Rest means believe. Rest means believe. Okay? And be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. We're going to drop down to verse 14. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy. So he's saying you're in captivity in these lands. You've been wounded with the doctrine of an enemy. All right? With the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. So he punished us by sending us into captivity under a different doctrine because we wouldn't follow his doctrine. So the time's coming now where he's saying that everybody's going to have to get the understanding so the righteous can come out of those doctrines where he sent us into captivity under these other people's doctrine. All right? So it's telling you a wound is a doctrine that was corrected. All right? When Christ came, he corrected the understanding of the carnal doctrine and wounded that understanding. The beast that we're talking about in Revelation 13, the wound is healed because the carnal doctrine has come back into authority. The beast is teaching a carnal doctrine. The beast is teaching a carnal doctrine. So that wound has healed. The beast has come back. The beast is a man with a doctrine. Okay? So now, let's go back to Revelation 13. Get some more understanding. It says, he doeth great wonders so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That's telling you the fire is the word. He makes the fire come down to heaven. That means he makes the fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Sight means understanding, okay? So the people understand what his doctrine is. He's making fire come down from heaven. Heaven is the spiritual, okay, upon the earth. So he's mixed his carnal doctrine with some spiritual, and the people are amazed by it. All right, they understand his doctrine, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. And he has the power to do that which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So now you know what the wound is, right? But you don't know what this image is. So people say the image of the beast, that's Caesar Borgia. That's the model that they use for white Christ, right? So they say that's the image. The image is the white image of Jesus the Christ. All right, that's how it's taught. Okay? So now we're getting ready to let you know what an image is. All right? Because a lot of people believe, like, if you wear a charm around your neck that's got a picture of the white Jesus rendition, that's the image that you're wearing. Some people say if you pray to the image of Caesar Borgia, that's telling you that you are worshiping that image. Okay, so that's what they're telling you the image is talking about. So we're going to do according to the method that the Most High gave us to tell you what an image is. All right? So first, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 44, verse 9. They that make a graven image are all of them vanity, and their delectable things shall not profit. So when it's talking about delectable things, it's talking about things that you eat. So eat means learn. So it's talking about somebody who's teaching. And they are their own witnesses. So we said we read in Matthew 18 and 20 that you're supposed to have 2 or 3 witnesses from the Bible. But it's saying they have their own witnesses. So they're not going into the Bible to give you understanding. They're telling you what it means, right? But they're not going precept upon precept. They see not, just like we read in Matthew 13. Seeing they see not. They don't understand the parables. Nor know. They don't know the parables, that they may be ashamed. All right, so they confounded. They don't understand. All right. For it says, who hath formed a god? So it's talking about gods. A molten and a graven image. So it's talking about this man is formed as a god, and he's called him a graven image that is profitable for nothing. So it's talking about this man that won't provide these witnesses and such. Okay? Behold, all his fellows shall be ashamed. So all the people that's following him are going to be ashamed. They're not going to have any understanding. And the workmen, that's the people who work under him, they are of men. It's talking about men. Graven images are men. Let them be gathered together. Let them stand up. Yet they shall fear, and they shall be ashamed together. So when it's talking about this graven image, it's talking about a specific man. It's talking about a man, a human being. It ain't talking about a picture. It ain't talking about a charm that go around somebody's neck. This God, this graven image, is a man. Let's get another one. We're going to go to Jeremiah 10 and verse 14. It says, every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. All right, so it says every man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder, that's that man, is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. So breath, wind, breath, air, all those things mean doctrine. So he ain't got the right doctrine. This man doesn't have the right doctrine. They are vanity and the work of errors. This man's doctrine is full of errors. It's not reliable. In the time of their visitation they shall perish. This molten image is going to perish. That's the man with the doctrine. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod, the doctrine of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. So if you have the right doctrine, the doctrine of Israel, that's Christ's doctrine. Okay? So it's talking the difference between the brutish man's doctrine, that's the image, and Christ's doctrine, that's the righteous doctrine. Okay? The image is that man's doctrine. All right? We're going to go to Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 18. And it says, what profiteth the graven image that is the maker thereof have graven it, the molten image, and a teacher of lies. Men teach. Okay? Men teach that the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols. Okay? The men are the idols. A lot of these people got you believing that an idol is somebody go and they chisel out a statue and people bow down to the statue. The man is the idol. People are worshiping men with doctrines. That is what the Most High is calling an image. The image is the man with the doctrine. He is giving you the image that he is God, but he's the competition to the true God. All right? So when you start seeing the word image is referring to a man with a doctrine. Okay? The image of the beast is a prophet teaching a carnal doctrine. To kill means to convert. Anyone who won't willingly follow the carnal doctrine will be converted. All right? So let's go back and read it again in Revelation 13. It says, he has the power, this verse 15, and he had the power to give life to the image of the beast. So that image is the doctrine of that man. That's the image, a prophet with a doctrine. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image. Whoever wouldn't worship that doctrine of the beast should be killed. It's not talking about physically killing somebody. The word kill means convert. That's Romans 6, verses 1 through 6. To kill means to convert. All right? So it's not talking about the beast is going to physically kill people. So people thinking that this guy's going to come into power and he's going to start killing people. So that's why they thought Hitler was the beast, and Mussolini and all these different leaders who was killing people, Pol Pot and all these other people. They thought all of those people were the beast during that time period. But it's not talking about people, a lot of people being physically killed by this man. It's talking about people being converted. Kill means convert. Kill means convert spiritually. So then it says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead, in their foreheads. So now, this is what we said before. They teach that this is talking about people getting a chip in their right hand, or they say that they're going to put an implant in your forehead or something of that nature. And a lot of people in the Israelite camps believe that this is in order to be able to buy and sell, you got to agree to the system. The people have to follow the policy in order to be able to buy and sell or trade according to the people who run the system. That's how it's taught. All right. So we're going to ask the question of, what's a mark? What does a mark mean? All right. So we're going to go to Psalms chapter 130 and verse 1. Out of the depths have I cried unto thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice. Let thine ears be attentive to the voice of my supplication. If thou, Lord, shouldest mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? But there is forgiveness with thee, that thou mayest be feared. The context that they're using this word mark is remember. Remember. Something where you mark means you remember something. Mark means to remember something. All right? We're going to go to Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem. So it's talking about Jerusalem. That's their doctrine. That's the people who dwell in the doctrine. And set a mark upon their foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry, for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So he's saying, he's telling them to mark or designate or remember these particular people. And he's saying, put that thing that they remember upon their foreheads. Foreheads is where the mind is. So he's telling them to remember something in their minds. To remember something in their minds. These people are going to be remembered with something in their minds. Right? We're going to go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 16 and verse 24. That's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, also called Sirach, chapter 16, verse 24. My son, hearken unto me, and learn knowledge, and mark my words with thy heart. Remember my words in your mind. Heart means mind. So marking is talking about remembering words in your mind. The words he's talking about are his doctrine, the righteous doctrine. Learn the righteous doctrine. Mark is talking about learning a doctrine. We're going to 2 Maccabees in the Apocrypha, chapter 2 and verse 5. And when Jeremy, that's Jeremiah, came thither, he found a hollow cave. Okay, a cave is a dwelling. That's a church, temple, house, cave, grave. All those things are dwellings. All right, it's talking about a church. All right. And Jeremy came thither, he found an hollow cave, wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark. Ark is a ship. A ship is a man with a doctrine. Okay? You can see the precepts below. And the altar of incense. The altar is the fire. The incense is the doctrines. Okay? Fire is the word. Okay? And so stopped the door. And some of those that followed him came to mark, remember the way, but they could not find it. It ain't talking about, now the carnal people that think this ark that is talking about is some piece of furniture or some kind of buffet table or something that's got all of the tablets of the that Moses supposedly carved on when he went up to the mountain and all of that. It ain't talking about a piece of furniture, okay? Jeremiah is the ark, okay? An ark is a ship. A ship is a man with a doctrine. That's a prophet, okay? When it's talking about how can Jeremiah carry that ark by himself to a cave? If it's as cumbersome, it's got staves in it, so 4 people have to be used to carry it according to the carnal belief. All right, Jeremiah himself can't carry the ark. Okay, it's too big for him, so he can't carry it. All right, so it ain't talking about a piece of furniture. All right. It's talking about Jeremiah is the ark. He's the one that has the law in him, the tablets, the law. He has it in his brain. He's a prophet. That's what it's talking about, okay? So it says, and some of those followed him. That means they was following his doctrine, the righteous doctrine, to mark the way to that cave, to that church. But they could not find it. They couldn't. After Jeremiah stopped teaching, the people couldn't find a way to the doctrine. Okay? After Jeremiah stopped teaching the doctrine, nobody could understand the doctrine anymore. The doctrine got lost when the children of Israel went into captivity. That's what that's talking about. All right? So, but you see, he marked the way, meaning the way. Christ said he's the way, truth, and the life. All those words mean the same thing. The way is the truth. The way is the life. That's the doctrine. Okay? So he marked the way. Okay? The way to the doctrine. How to find out the understanding of what the doctrine means. Okay? So, now you know when it's talking about marked. All of those examples of mark that I gave you was talking about the beast will cause people to remember his doctrine. Okay, I spoke about the righteous doctrines, but the beast is going to mark the people with his doctrine in their brains or their minds. And only the prophets that have his doctrine will be able to buy and sell the carnal doctrine. Buy and sell means to teach. Buy and sell means to teach. Those precepts are below. To buy and sell means to teach doctrines. Okay? Buy and sell doctrines. All right? So you say, I'm not buying what you're selling, meaning I don't believe what you say. Or I'm buying what you're selling. Okay, so that's letting you know it's a slick talk that people use, but it actually means to believe somebody's doctrine. Okay? Now, so let's go back to Revelation and get a little bit more about this beast. Right? So it said he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand. Hand is the doctrine, that's their doctrine, or in their foreheads, that's in their minds. So he's saying they gotta have his mark, right? And that no man might buy or sell. He ain't gonna be able to teach any doctrine save he that had the mark. He had the understanding of the beast's doctrine, or the name of the beast. So name, we said name is the word of God. So the beast has his own name. He's got his own doctrine, or the number of his name, the number of his doctrine. What does number mean? So we're going to give you the understanding of what number means. We're going to go to Numbers chapter 1, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names. It's saying it the same way it said it in Revelation. With the number of their names, every male by their poles, from 20 years old and upward. Now y'all know, if y'all saw the video about did a man live 900 years, when it's talking about years, it's talking about level of understanding. It's not talking about people who 20 years old. It's talking about people who have the equivalent of 20 years of understanding according to the measurement of the Most High. From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel. When it's talking about warring in Israel, it's talking about fighting for the doctrine, converting people. That's what the war is. Thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. So it's talking about numbering. It means that they're going to give them understanding. All right? So again, it said 20 years. He's going to number them by their armies. They're going to give them understanding. It said the number of their names. Their name is their understanding, their doctrine. That means what level of understanding that they have according to the house of their fathers. That means depending on the doctrine that they're under. There are 12 doctrines that Jacob had. So depending on the version of the doctrine that they follow, which is what the sons are, those are the doctrines by the house of their fathers, their level of understanding in the doctrine. Y'all see that? Let's try another. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And I know whenever you first hear it, it sounds kind of different. But once you keep seeing it, you start to understand what these words mean. And they mean differently than you're accustomed to. So let's find out a little bit more about the word number. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be few in number among the heathen. That means only a few of the people that gets under the doctrine of the heathen are going to remember the doctrine. And ye shall be few in number. Only a few of y'all gonna understand the doctrine once y'all are under the doctrine of those heathens, whither the Lord shall lead you. Okay? And ye shall serve gods and work of men's hands, that's their doctrines. Wood and stone, that's their doctrines, which neither see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. So none of those doctrines have any real value. They're vanity. Those doctrines of those nations where you're going to be captive, there's not going to be any profit in those doctrines. That's what the Most High is telling you. Verse 29. But if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, if you start asking questions to find what the doctrine that the Most High wants you to learn, you have a contrite heart, contrite spirit, and you want to learn what the Most High doctrine is, and you pray for understanding, thou shalt find him if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. But he said there's going to be few in number. It's going to be only a few people who going to understand the doctrine. That's what that's saying. Let's get another one. We're going to Jeremiah 44 and 26. Therefore, hear ye the word of the Lord, all Judah that dwell in the land of Egypt. He's talking about the people following the carnal doctrine. Behold, I have sworn by my great name, by his doctrine, saith the Lord, that my name shall no more be named in the mouth of any man of Judah in all the land of Egypt. So he's saying the people who following that carnal doctrine, they're going to forget his doctrine. Saying the Lord God liveth. Okay? So you claiming to be following the Lord, but you following the doctrine of Egypt, which is the carnal doctrine. He says, behold, I will watch over them for evil and not for good. So y'all keep following that carnal doctrine, and he's going to give you evil and not good. And all the men of Judah that are in the land of Egypt shall be consumed by the sword. They're going to be consumed by those doctrines that they follow. They ain't going to be able to get out of those doctrines. And by famine, they're not going to have any understanding. Famine means lack of food. Food is understanding. Until there be an end of them. So they're not going to get the kingdom. Yet a small number that escape the sword, people who have the understanding, who are not going to be converted or killed by the sword, shall return out of the land of Egypt. Some of us going to get the understanding into the land of Judah, into the original doctrine that Judah taught. Who's the Lord? The Lord sprang out of Judah. That's the doctrine. And all the remnant of Judah that are gone into the land of Egypt to sojourn there shall know whose word shall stand, mine or theirs. So the people going to recognize the Lord's doctrine when they hear it. And this shall be a sign. Sign mean understanding, wisdom. Unto you, saith the Lord, that I will punish you in this place, that ye may know that my word shall surely stand against you for evil. So he's letting you know, if you don't follow his doctrine, you're going to get punished. All right? So now, the word number means, the word number is speaking about somebody who has understanding. To be numbered means you have understanding. Number means to have understanding of a doctrine. The context of the scripture is saying the people that have wisdom of the carnal doctrine will control the church and will decide who is authorized to teach. So let's go back and read it again in Revelation. It says that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. Mark means they have the remembrance of the beast's doctrine, or the number or the name of the beast. The name of the beast is his doctrine, or the number of his name, the understanding of his name. Okay? So now, here's the part we came here for. Verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. The number is his doctrine, understanding of his doctrine. Okay? The number of the beast is the understanding of his doctrine. Okay? For it is the number of a man. Okay? A man is a prophet. All right? The number is the understanding of a doctrine. A man is a prophet, and his number is 666. That's 666. All right? So now, we're going to give you the understanding of the 666. The way we're going to give you the understanding of the 666 is through Revelation chapter 5. We're going to start at verse 1. Listen very closely. If there's any precepts that need to be explained, they will be at the bottom of the screen. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within, and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. Okay? 7 seals. The book is sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the book and loose the seals thereof?" So he's saying, who can loose the seals of this book that the Most High is holding? And no man in heaven is the spiritual, nor earth, neither under the earth, was able to open the book, neither look thereon. So nobody had the understanding to open the book that the Most High has, that is sealed. And I wept. Wept means pray. Because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither look thereon. So it's saying nobody has the understanding of how to open the book. And one of the elders saith unto me, "Weep not. Behold, the Lion of Judah, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof." So he's saying Christ has the ability to open and loose the 7 seals. Okay? And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb, as it had been slain. So it's talking about Christ, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. Okay, I'm going to read that again. Having 7 horns. Horns are doctrines. Okay? 7 eyes. Eyes are doctrines, knowledge, wisdom. You see. Okay? Which are the 7 spirits. Spirits are words. John 6:63. The words are spirit. So that's doctrines. 7 spirits of God sent forth into the earth. All right? So it's telling you 7, 7, 7 opens the book or opens the seals. 7 is a number of completion. So it's telling you the Lamb has complete understanding. Right? Before we read in John. We read in John 6. John chapter 6 and verse 54. 6. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. So Christ has the 777, and he that eateth his flesh and drinketh his blood dwelleth in him, and I dwelleth in me, and I in him. So the people that have the understanding of Christ's doctrine are him. So Revelation 5, the people who have the 7 or complete understanding are able to open the seals. But in Revelation 13, it states that that beast, his number is 666. He doesn't have full understanding to break the seals on what the parables are saying. That's what this is talking about. The 666 are the prophets that teach carnally because they don't have full understanding. So let's get what it means to be 7. 7 is a number of completion. We're going to go to Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 17 and verse 5. They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord, and in the 6th place he imparted them understanding, meaning they have part of the understanding. And in the 7th, speech and interpreter of the cogitations thereof. He's telling you, if you're at the 7th level, which is rest, which is complete understanding, you can interpret the cogitations of the Bible. The person who has the carnal understanding does not have the proper understanding to give you what the Most High requires you to do. He says you are going to know the righteous in the end because they are going to be able to explain the parables. Like, can a man live 900 years? How to weigh the fire? What was the sin of Adam? All of those strongholds that get brought down are going to come from the righteous. He's telling you the attributes of the prophet that has his doctrine. The prophets who have been teaching the carnal doctrine are not of God. That's what he's telling you. He's telling you, if you want to know the spiritual doctrine of what the Most High expects of you, you have to listen to the prophet who is at the 7th level, which is complete understanding. That's what the Most High is telling you. If you continue to follow the 666, which is the carnal prophet, the prophet who does not have understanding, you are going to die. The prophet that teaches the 666 or carnal belief is the beast. There are many beasts. The beast is the prophet that teaches the carnal doctrine. That's the 666. Let's get some more 7s. Because now you should have better understanding of what it's talking about. Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work. Work is supporting your belief, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. He rested, meaning he has full understanding. Look below, that's the precepts for rested below. Rest means believe, to believe, full understanding. You believe the doctrine. The Most High rested on the seventh day. The seventh day means wisdom. That's full, complete understanding. 7 is a number of completion. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 13, verse 5. And it shall be, when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee, a land, doctrine, flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, and in the 7th day shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread is understanding, shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy quarters, in your houses. So he's saying you're going to have full understanding. You're going to get unleavened bread, meaning the pure understanding. Bread means wisdom, okay? You're going to have full wisdom on the 7th day. Full understanding on the 7th day. Day means wisdom, okay? You are going to believe in the doctrine. Exodus chapter 20, verse 9. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. So you're going to be supporting your doctrine. That's what works means. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. 7 is complete understanding. 7th day, 7th understanding. The 7th level of understanding. That's the Sabbath. The Sabbath is when you have full understanding. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, once they get the 7th understanding, the 7th level, nor thy daughter, that's your doctrine, nor thy manservant, the people that's following your doctrine, nor thy maidservant, doctrine, nor thy cattle, the people following your doctrine, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. So the people who are learning under you, they're all going to reach the 7th level as well. That's what that's telling you. If you follow the 777, you get full understanding, and then you get the kingdom when the day of judgment comes. That's what the 777 is. You have been learning from the 777 at Elders of Israel. No other organization currently is teaching the 777 7. That does not mean that we're the only ones that have the understanding. It's just that we seem to be the only ones teaching it. You have to learn the spiritual doctrine so that you can be redeemed in the last day, in the day of judgment. That's what we're teaching you. That's what you need to learn, the spiritual interpretation of the scriptures. I hope you have enjoyed this class. And with that, I bid you shalom.